Welcome to the Heartlight Sessions, a podcast about lightworking your way through dark times. I'm Jenee Halstead. I'm a singer-songwriter, holistic vocal coach, intuitive guide, and plant medicine facilitator. I'm also a survivor of childhood abuse, autoimmune issues, and my 30s. I'm on a lifelong healing journey, and along the way, I want to share the ideas and teachings that rock my world. Every week on Heartlight Sessions, I call in artists, healers, and thinkers to explore what's helped them live and thrive from a heart-centered place. Because the heart, it's where the best things happen. If you've ever wondered how to unlock your biggest breakthroughs or how to come back from that stuff that tried to kill you, you know the stuff I'm talking about, the stuff that's supposed to make you stronger. Or if you've ever wondered how to just do you straight from the heart, you're in the right place. So join me, won't you? Let's turn on that heart light. Turning on my heart light. 1,000 volts of sunshine. Hello, hello, hello.
Hello.
I have my business mentor here, looking so stunningly beautiful. As usual.
Thank you. Thank you, Jenee. I did my hair for you. I got a little dressed up. I might have dressed to impress a little bit.
Oh my God. I washed my hair, which
You put lipstick on.
I put lipstick on. You can put lipstick on a pig, and that's kind of how I roll these days. I got out of my sweats.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for having me here. We met on the World Wide Web, on the internet.
It's so crazy.
How long ago was that?
I feel like we were swimming in each other's orbits for was it a year?
A year. But I found you originally because I was so, I remember I was looking up sound healing with just spiritual sound healing, but voice lessons. And I remember I stumbled upon one of your documents. And I was like, oh my God, I love this girl. I loved your energy. And as we've gotten to kind of know each other, there's been a lot of parallels in our life and our work. And
crazy parallels.
Working together has been just so beautiful. So
it's been so magical.
I feel like I'm just so grateful that I found you. B, just the relationship that we're building and what we will be doing in the future together.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Natalie is an energy alchemy and sacred business mentor that has decades of experience in the holistic wellness field. And so this version of you that is the business coach, business mentor, that feels to you like kind of a natural, easy progression, I think.
Well, I initially really resisted it. I was like, oh my God, because I have a business background. I used to work in corporate and sales and marketing for the big beauty giant L'Oreal. And I left that world really traumatized, really burnt out, really overwhelmed. And I was always just really obsessed with holistic health and well-being, so on that journey into becoming, which was literally a 13-year journey of doing a million things holistic, which will kind of unravel. When business mentoring came back into my vantage point, I was like, oh no, I don't want to do that. But then with my previous experience in the last 13 years in the energetics and really combining business and energy, I was like, oh, this is such a natural fit for me. And it feels really fun, really expansive. And I love that I get to work with women like you, who are like myself, the deep depth-seeking women who have walked many, many, many paths of pain and through the fire. And that's that's why we know each other. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. Yeah, the, I just have to laugh at like the parallels, even like okay, so
Oh
I'm a
yeah, our
Libra with
astrology
Sag
chart.
moon and Sag rising.
Yeah. And I'm a Libra moon, Sag rising, Sag sun. So we're like literally like this
Click.
click, we like click in. And we both have these very like spunky, fun,
Mm-hmm.
fiery personalities, but we're both deeply sensitive and just fucking intense. But
Intense.
all in like the most beautiful ways, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and through our journey of getting to know each other, your work, and I'm going to highlight your work, is just so profound and so incredible. It's helped me transition even better into what I'm meant to do, right?
Mm,
And I think that
thank
we both
you.
do that in different
Mm-hmm.
trajectories in people's paths and journeys. But um, yeah, I've adored getting to know you, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited to continue that
Mm-hmm.
journey of
Me
friendship
too.
and expansion with you.
Me too. What do
Hmm.
you think as you're kind of leaning into the business mentorship, and what do you think are the biggest roadblocks for women that they face right now, especially if they're trying to get out of working maybe corporate and they really feel like they have this deep call and calling for like I think a
Mm,
lot of people are getting called forth now
yeah,
as the planetary energies change and,
yeah.
you know.
Hmm. I mean, there's so many things, but I can look back on my own journey and what I've had to really shift and change, and it's really to get out of the programming,
Mm-hmm.
like really getting out of survival. That
Mm-hmm.
like survival, scarcity, and
Mm.
um yeah, survival and scarcity. And I remember coming out of corporate, just being so burnt out because I was traveling, and it's just an intense bro. It's like a
Mm-hmm.
very patriarchal system where,
Mm-hmm.
your hormones, there's no place for like
Yeah. There's no place
rhythm.
for the
No,
female, like
no.
the
And my hormones were
real,
just really
yeah.
screwed up. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very interesting to me, like as I do this deconditioning myself and,
Hmm.
am getting into my nervous system and learning about my feminine and kind of learning how to love myself, like learning how to,
Hmm.
get that system like out of my body and just realizing like how I, and I think a lot of women realize how they don't know anything about their own feminine systems,
Essence.
their
No,
own their
no.
own natural cycles, you know, everything is controlled and boxed up and,
Templated.
pushed down and it's just
Yeah.
we can't live that way. We're seeing the same thing happen with the planet, you know?
Yeah. And I think that there's such an internal pull and an internal calling within. It's that divine, I always call it like the just that heart-centeredness, that divine clicking in. Like
Mm,
we're being so called back into our internal compass to
mm,
navigate this reality from such a different paradigm.
mm,
Such and I think that is the biggest job when I say like getting out of survival and getting out of scarcity. But it's more than that. It's not that I just don't want to run a business. I just don't want to do this because that's the way
mm-hmm,
it's been done. But like,
mm-hmm,
how do you get to the real depth of who you are, which requires like rooting down, really rooting down and finding that space within you. How do I operate and run my business and market myself from my own core vibration? And
mm-hmm,
that is going to be so different than anybody, right? we all have different rhythms, and especially
Mm-hmm.
women being squeezed into those. I mean, I squeezed myself into so many boxes, and I'll even take it from like moving from corporate and then starting my own holistic nutrition business. That was the
Mm-hmm.
first thing that I did. I was
Mm-hmm.
a personal trainer in holistic nutrition, and my focus was women with digestions and hormonal issues. And even moving from corporate, I came from this space of like, I've got to hustle and force this business. So you take
Mm-hmm.
that template and you push it into this business. But what you soon come to realize that even in some of the coaching spaces, it's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's the
It's the same
same,
template.
it's the same template of here's my system of success, use it, and you're going to have success. And that, I mean, I've invested in a million
Mm-hmm.
business coaching
Mm-hmm.
things. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking like tens of thousands of dollars went into major debt and failed fucking miserably at them because
Mm-hmm.
I was doing their thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Ugh.
Yeah, and what it takes to really get to know yourself, and to understand your own signature. And I think the big thing for me and where I really want to be focusing my energy for women, and
Yeah.
you really helped me with this, and it was right in front of me and I just didn't see it, was really helping with the witch wound. Because I think,
Mm.
or the priestess wound, or whatever you want to call it, because I think on top of, all the demands of the world
Yeah.
and all the demands on women, it's not, it's more intense now. It's not like things got better because women, because of feminism, and then women were able to, it's actually, I feel like it's added more and more, onto a woman's plate. It's like, okay, yeah, you're going to work and you're going to raise your child, as full time.
Yes.
And
It's
then on
like,
top of it, yeah, if you're wanting to even learn about yourself and explore your own, gifts, artistry. I call a lot of this is like, I think of it
yeah.
as the artist,
Hmm.
you know?
Yeah.
And where do you find the time? And then on top of that, there's, if you're, if you've decided you're gonna, do something in the world that's forward facing, a lot of women, especially healers, have that intense, deep wound.
Yeah. And that wound, that's why I think any type of templated business programming that says do this, this was my success, it is completely missing the mark. That if you're not working with somebody who is trauma informed, who
Mm-hmm.
has an understanding that for you to actually truly become who you're meant to be in that like full expression, I mean, you're working with like lifetimes,
Yeah.
lifetimes
Yep.
of trauma
Yeah.
and staying small and hiding. And that shows up in all the many layers of your
Mm-hmm.
business. Like it shows
Yep.
up how you show up online, how like putting together that the group program, or what is
Mm-hmm.
your core offering as like what is your medicine? Like sharing
Mm-hmm.
your medicine used to get you burned at
Mm-hmm.
the stake.
Mm-hmm.
Of course you're going to hide. Of course, I
Mm-hmm.
hid for so many years.
Yeah, me too.
So many years. And that is, I mean, but here's the beautiful thing that I think is really, we're in this pressure cooker right
Mm-hmm.
now where we're leaving this old paradigm where
Yep.
all these constraints of what we should be like I was having a conversation with somebody about, I forget who, because I can't remember, but I was having this conversation about really leaning in the old way of whether it was healing, whether it was running your business. It's all multi-layered in this way that it's like I got to fix myself. I got to
Mm-hmm.
really, I've
Mm-hmm.
got to fix this so I can
Mm-hmm.
perform and
Yeah.
I can project this
Mm.
certain
Mm.
image of
Mm.
who I think I want people to be. And that
Mm-hmm.
projection is often felt incongruently by people
For
now,
sure.
especially now. And that's
Especially
why
now.
there that really rooting down and finding all those nitty-gritty icky parts of yourself, like the witch wound is in there, like deep shadow work. Like
Mm-hmm.
if we can go in and love all these parts of ourselves and really just be with them, that's that comes out as part of the expression of your medicine. It's like the
Mm-hmm.
wholeness that we are starting to embody. I think we're just starting to
Mm-hmm.
see such a different leadership style from women now.
Yeah. And, one of the things I've always said is that the body is it's the bridge, it's the gateway
Hmm.
to heaven on earth. And
Yeah.
so that's been the path for me, and I'm sure it's been the path for you, and the women that I want to learn from and the women that I trust are going into their bodies and
Hmm.
they're moving from their bodies because that is where the true intelligence comes from. But to do that, to get embodied with all of the messages and with the witch wound and with the ancestral wounds and
There's a lot of
you
shit in
know
there.
there's a lot of stuff.
There's
Yeah.
so much stuff in our
Yeah.
body that
Yeah.
like you spend so much of your life neck up, neck up, neck
Mm-hmm.
up. So yeah, starting that journey of going in is like it can feel like a treacherous path at first because
Mm-hmm.
it's like, oh, I've been so programmed to live outside of this body, but like when you get in and you start to settle, and it takes a lot of
Takes
nervous system work to
takes a lot of nervous
a
system work.
lot of nervous system work to really get to the next layer and okay, I'm safe here. And then you're like, you're getting a deeper breath and you're going through all these layers of deep intensity and deep traumas that gold that you get on the other side of that. It's alchemy when
Mm-hmm.
you get into the pain, right?
Mm-hmm.
And moving through and allow yourself to truly feel it, to go to the depths. And I'm not talking about like just like feel your feelings, but
Mm-hmm.
be in those feelings for a while
Mm-hmm.
because your body hasn't felt them for so
Mm-hmm.
long.
Yep.
Like,
What's one of
did,
Yeah, go
oh,
ahead.
no, I was going to ask you when you first started healing. I remember for 2 years, I was literally completely wiped out for 2 years. 2 years of my life, I was completely exhausted because my body was finally allowing me to enter,
Mm-hmm.
enter, enter. And that
Mm-hmm.
and that can feel like you're going backwards.
For sure.
Hmm.
Yeah. Pardon me. I started my healing journey probably 20 years ago. Um, but I was still very like in the spiritual, it was a lot of like spiritual realm stuff. And so I
Yeah.
was in these upper chakras for a very long time.
Yeah.
We've talked a lot about that, and it wasn't, I think, until I really started to do this work with other women, and I had my first iteration of my business and just really couldn't get it off the ground. And I was like, I don't believe what I'm teaching. And I am
Mhm.
afraid to go somewhere, and now that I facilitate psychedelics, and Philip and I always talk about how when you sit in a container with a facilitator, you can only go as deep as your facilitator is gone,
Mhm.
you know? And that's exactly the same for someone who's, you know, helping you walk through a program, helping you launch your business. It's like,
Mhm.
yeah, it's that
Uh,
kind of multifaceted aspect of, someone who's kind
yeah.
of gone through the alchemical fire.
Yeah. And it's funny because somebody asked me the other day, because I'm single, and they're like,
Mm-hmm.
what are you looking for in a man? And I look for this in teachers and mentors. I'm like, please tell me that you've walked through some type of fire and you have
Mm-hmm.
come out on the other side, because
Mm-hmm.
I have been to the depths of hell myself.
Yeah.
And if I can't share that depth with you, and you, doesn't mean that you have to have gone on the same path. But if there is no understanding or relatability of where I've been, it's kind of lost,
Yeah.
right? And that is it's deep work.
It is deep work. And there's a deep sense of trust when you're with someone who's gone through that, you know?
Mm.
I think it creates like an unspoken language. And I was wondering what one of your favorite shadow working
Ah,
exercises is, or if you could run us through something.
swamping for sure.
Swamping.
Swamping. So, and this isn't mine. I remember reading about it from Mama Gina,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't take her course, but I
Mm-hmm.
just read it and I was like, oh wow. And it kind of circulated through my intellect for a little while. And then I remember um, going through a really, really dark period. And I was going through deep scarcity. Um, and I remember I was part of what I do is I do a lot of mirror work too.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember sitting in front of the mirror and I could feel shadow coming in, like my deepest fears, like what is coming up. And one of my deepest fears was, scarcity. I'm not going to have
Mm-hmm.
enough money to do this,
Mm-hmm.
whatever the story is.
Mm-hmm.
And I could feel it. And I'm really in resistance to that. I can feel my body clamping, because it's
Mm-hmm.
like, you can't go there because you can feel scarcity.
Yeah.
You
It's
start to do this
visceral.
work.
It's my biggest
It
wound as
becomes
well.
this very visceral in my body, where I was like, oh fuck, no, I need to go here. I need to go and look right at the shadow. So swamping for me, and I don't even know if this is how Mama Gina does, but this is what I came up with, what I've been doing, what I've been teaching clients. I allowed that energy and that shadow to fully embody me. And I
Mm.
started swamping around as what I, in my mind's eye or in my body, and the biggest fear is like, you're going to be fucking homeless. You're going
Mm-hmm.
to, I don't know, have to prostitute yourself. Like
Mm-hmm. Die
you
in the
go,
streets.
like die on the streets. And like,
Mm-hmm.
you go to the place that you
Mm-hmm.
are absolutely buck fucking wild afraid of.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I
Yeah.
swear, but
No, I love swearing on this
I'm a
podcast.
little bit of a potty mouth.
My
So
favorite thing.
I have a bit of a potty mouth.
Me
So in
too.
the mirror, I really allowed myself, I allowed that really dark place of my shadow to really come and embody it and really let her play out through me.
Mm-hmm.
And then right after that, I mean, if anybody saw me do this, they'd just be like, this girl's like batshit crazy. And I'm like, yeah. So after allowing this swamping, or this deep, dark shadow energy, this one of your deepest fears, to actually like flow through me, I was like, oh man, that wasn't that bad. And like
Mm-hmm.
the amount, so I want you to think of like how much your body holds. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
like this bracing. You're resisting, resisting, resisting. And when you let that shadow come through your body and you embody it, like with love, it comes through and you're just like taken over and you act it out as the expression, as your body is art, and you're letting it move through you. And then the spaciousness and expansion that you have thereafter is like, it's dreamy. It's like
It is dreamy.
all the shit on the other side of that fear of scarcity is like, oh, okay, I went there. Was it that bad? No, no, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad, I'm sure, in real life, but like that resistance and that bracing, and that's part of that survival that
Mm.
lives in our body. And when you
Mm.
get into it and you act it out and you let that move through you, it's the spaciousness that I had for the entire 6 months after that, from just letting that shadow move through me, was
Mm-hmm.
like absolutely incredible.
Yeah, it's so interesting, and
It's wild.
it's wild that we're so terrified, we're like so terrified to feel those things, and the
Mm.
ego is just like puts
Yeah.
that clamp on it, like no. And then when you go through it, I had an experience with Bufo. We went and sat with our teacher down in Mexico, and um it was a crazy day. It was like
Yeah.
I started getting very nervous, and I was like, I'm not gonna go. And I remembered the day before I had pulled from the shamanic deck, I had pulled the butterfly card,
You're like, oh, this
and
is
it's
gonna
like
be messy.
transformation. Yeah. So then we get to the beach, and like it's like a million butterflies, like just thousands of
Oh,
butterflies going each way. And Alfonso was
wow.
like, "Oh, this is a great day. This is very auspicious. Like we have the two winds of the seasons changing." And the butterflies are here, and as they're moving through their migration. And so the days get going on, we're on the beach, it's getting hotter and hotter, and everybody's going, and I'm like getting more nervous. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go. Oh my God, I'm like gonna go shit my pants first.
Your
I mean,
body's like bracing, emptying,
yeah,
bracing.
yeah. And it's like every time I step up to the plate with that medicine, I'm terrified, and most people are, and that's very normal and healthy. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was interesting because what came through was like a holding, because what that medicine does is really, it's first and foremost a body medicine, and it wrings
Was it
you out.
combo?
No, it's Bufo.
Oh, okay,
Like
okay.
everybody thinks that Bufo is like, yes, it does
The
have like the
God.
rocket
I
ship.
don't, yeah, I don't know enough about it, but
Yeah, but I mean the kind of um most people, the idea of it is of this like crown chakra, and then you're out of your body, you
right.
know, which that happens, but it's very much a body medicine, like I think first and foremost, and it wrings you out. And so God comes in, or source comes into your body, and I felt it, and it was like it was coming in and pushing out all of the terror that I've ever had of my whole life, of like being a woman, giving birth, like all of these holdings that I had in my
Yeah.
body. It was just this like complete terror of like life. It was just being
Yeah.
afraid of living and being afraid of life. And
That's wild.
yeah, and not having a child, because part of the reason why I didn't have a child was because of a long line of like abuse, and also I didn't think I would be a good parent, and I was
Mm.
also like terrified of the whole process. And so I'm like, I've got my legs up like, and I'm just ripping, like screaming. It was the scream of like a century.
Like a
This was a
guttural
scream of
wail.
like lifetimes.
Yeah.
And at that same moment, I had this deep, deep, deep bow. For anyone who is holding so tightly due to addiction. And when you realize that's a spiritual path, to hold like that, to contract, or to um shut down, or to be kind of taken by an addiction or something, like
Yeah.
that is a really hard but deep spiritual path. And that like changed my whole mind about suffering and addiction. And I just have so much more compassion for everyone that I see,
Yeah.
because we're holding that in our bodies.
Yeah. And sometimes our bodies just won't allow us to go into it. So
Yeah, for whatever reason.
the coping mechanism is to survive and move on and drink
Yeah,
or do whatever.
do whatever.
Wow, that's really profound. I have yet to do Bufo, and I have a very funny feeling my first Bufo experience will be with you.
Hmm. I know I keep trying to get you to come down. It'll happen.
I
It's gonna happen.
I'll be down soon. I'll be down
Yeah.
soon.
Yep.
Hmm.
Talk a little bit about mirror work too. I'd love to learn a little bit about your process. Do you have do you have several things that you do?
So it's interesting. I integrate mirror work when I think when women are really it's through that like getting into the body when they're very in their head. I find mirror work really profound because when I first started when I'll give you an example of when I first started doing mirror work, you can really pick up on the subtle nuances of what's actually happening if you just keep staring for long enough. There is
Mm,
so much that gets revealed to you
mm,
through the mirror, just looking into your eyes.
mm-hmm,
Or and so mirror work for me, I use it as a way to connect with the body. It's like,
mm-hmm,
how do you how do you relate to your body? Do you
mm-hmm,
love your body? Do you
mm-hmm,
like a lot of women don't have that connection to their body. So witnessing themselves in the mirror, just like caressing their shoulder or like twirling their hair or just touching their face, just being with themselves. I always feel like it's the masculine in you witnessing the feminine expression in the
mm,
mirror. It's like you're
mm,
seeing all these really beautiful parts of yourself and
mm,
sometimes ugly parts, right?
mm,
But it's through the lens of compassion where you get to um, really get into many, many layers of the self.
mm,
You can even start to see your ancestors show up in
mm-hmm,
the mirror.
mm-hmm,
You start to see past lives. It is
mm-hmm.
like if you do it, if you practice it long enough, I feel like I've had psychedelic trips
Oh,
in
for
front of the
sure.
mirror where, I mean, I'm very visual in my intuition. I'm very sensitive to energy. So I'm very attuned to a lot of nuance. So when I'm doing mirror work, it is, I think taking people through it's very uncomfortable at
Mm-hmm,
first
mm-hmm,
because we often have so much criticism about ourselves,
mm-hmm,
such lifetimes and lifetimes of trauma, but then the world and how we're supposed to look. And if you, it's just a lot of our worth is really wrapped
mm-hmm.
up in how we
Yes.
look. And this
Yep.
is something that I've had to really unpack. I mean, I heard it from my mother a lot growing up, like, oh, well, you're good looking. And I'm like, oh, does that mean that I should get the job? Does that mean it's like,
Mm-hmm,
it's such deep programming, right?
mm-hmm,
So when you sit in front of the mirror, whether you have makeup on or not, you start to learn how to soften and have such deep compassion for all these different expressions of yourself.
mm-hmm.
It's really wild. Have you done mirror work?
Oh yeah, I've done a lot of mirror work on psychedelics.
Oh man, I have not done that. Like I feel like mirror work alone is like, okay, tell me
Uh,
about that.
oh man, tripping balls on like ayahuasca or mushrooms and going and hanging out with yourself in front of the mirror can be like
Traumatizing.
wild. I mean, just wild.
Yeah.
I, so I like to kind of look past
Yeah.
myself like a little bit and I'll look like just right past my head or, you know,
Yeah.
into the mirror and sometimes it can be like terrifyingly overwhelming.
Yeah.
So I make sure and breathe, really breathe into it and get curious about like who's there, what's this showing me? And I've seen versions of myself that are a lot of like Aboriginal or,
Yeah.
native, like old ancestry. Um, I've
Guides.
seen guides. I've seen
Hmm.
myself as an alien, like a Lyran, like starseed or Lyran,
Yeah.
they're the cat beings or whatever. Oh man, just like so many and tribal markings and
Yeah.
you know, um I've seen myself as an old woman, and that's always like a trip, you know? It's like, whoa, okay,
Yeah.
you know? And to kind of sit with that and be like, okay, there she is.
Yeah.
She's she's dope. Instead of being like, oh my God, there she is, and like sagging
Oh,
jowls and holy
yeah.
shit, she looks creepy. And just being like, I've kind of I've been doing a lot of work recently where I've been meeting my future my future wise self, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like you see the eyes, and that's the thing, same thing with mirror work.
It's the
The
windows to the
eyes
soul.
never change.
No, I know. It's so in my mirror work, I do a lot of like directly into the eyes, and then it's like everything softens. So it's that steady focus in the eyes that allows the
I
this
love that.
transformation of the face too. So it's probably the same thing. It's like focusing over here or focusing. I tend to focus on the eye. My mentor in Chicago gave me that practice about 10 years ago. And that was, I was like, well, man, this is deep shit. Like there's so
Wow.
much that you can see in the
Yeah.
mirror. And it's not,
Yeah.
it's like, it's not like a 3D physical
Mm-mm.
reflection. This is like layers and layers of your multidimensional self being
Mm-hmm.
exposed.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to be ready for that because
Yeah.
it's like really deep and really beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's I feel like there's so many things like, and it's so unique because I feel like the women that are coming to me now are like you.
Mm-hmm.
You've done a lot of that deep body work.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's like, how do I take all of this knowing? Because here's also what I've noticed in the healing industry is like, you can just keep healing.
Mm-hmm.
You
And
can just
getting more
stay
information.
healing and you can just get more information and you can just keep going, keep healing. And I call it the
Like,
wound. You pick off the
yeah.
scab and you just
Yeah.
keep picking at it, right?
I
Like you
know.
you can do that. And I used to do that. And then I'm like, you know what? I've got it. What am I going to do with this now? What am I
Mm-hmm.
going to do with this, all this information that I got? So I tend to be getting a lot of women who have done that deep,
Mm-hmm.
heavy in their body nervous system work. I mean, I used to teach this in my healing practice, but now I'm getting the women who are like, I'm ready to fucking take action. I'm ready
Totally.
to move with all the baggage that I uncovered, all of the intensity, and this is like having so much compassion and love for all the parts of you, all
Mm-hmm.
the parts of you. And you're like, we're going to bring all of you into the medicine now.
Yeah. I know. I think you've said, I mean, I think I've talked to you like several times about I need to do something else or I need more training. And you're like, you do not
I'm
need
like,
more
no, you
training.
don't. No.
Yeah.
And that's,
It's uncovering what is there. And that's what, I'm in the process of doing with you.
yeah. And I think that, I mean, I did that. I went on, I'm like, oh, I don't have enough knowledge. So, and I
Mm-hmm.
always think that everything that you are so, it's like you already know that when I studied holistic nutrition, it was very easy for me because I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, I know this from a past life.
Yeah,
When
totally.
I studied energetics, I was already doing it, but it's just giving me contextualization for the
Yeah.
skills that I already had. And it's the same with most healers. We have like such an abundance of skill set already
Mm-hmm.
innately within us.
Mm-hmm.
And then we look out here to get the program to confirm something that we already have inside of us
Mm-hmm.
when like your work, Jenee, like when you are doing your sound healing with me,
Mm-hmm.
you don't learn that shit in a book.
You
Like
can't learn that stuff.
you can't learn that. That is
Yeah.
God and the
Yeah.
divine saying, get out of the way. I'm coming through. And it's your unique energy and skill
Mm-hmm.
set that can hold, you can be that conduit, right? And when you have done the depth of work that you have done, you then open yourself up to being that
Mm-hmm.
conduit, and the divine
Yeah.
is like,
Yeah.
let me take over.
Yeah.
And that's what make your sessions so powerful,
Yeah.
because you get out of the way.
Exactly.
And that, I think, that is such a, like, you do you so beautifully that no
Thank you.
modality is going to ever like confirm what you do. Do you know what I
And
mean?
yeah, and that's the thing. Like so many people, and that's, that's fine, but it's like get the, somatic experiencing, certificate if you need the
Yeah.
language, like you had said to me,
Yeah.
but like really it is so much about uncovering, It's not about adding, it's actually about uncovering. And that's
Yeah.
like for me this last year, that's what it's been about. It's like, and those codes are living in your field. Like,
It's in your
those
DNA.
gifts, yeah, and
Yeah.
in your DNA, and those gifts are coming, especially now as
Yeah.
we're moving through, this planetary ascension and more of the light codes are streaming in. It's like people's gifts are just gonna pop off.
Oh, they be popping.
Yeah, they be popping.
They be popping right now. They're
But it's
jamming
it's
and popping.
really, yeah,
It
it's
is.
it's a matter of like actually trusting yourself and not looking around and being like, oh my God, that
Mhm.
person in this person doing that, it doesn't, I don't see myself. And that's the thing. I was like, I don't see myself in any of these people. And it's like, no shit, Sherlock.
Yep. And it is also, we're dissolving the illusion that we are separate from God.
Exactly. And from
This
each other.
and from each other. But I think you hit the nail on the head. I got to trust myself, but you also have to put faith and trust in something far bigger than you,
Hmm.
which is
It's hard for
always
people.
that's a really big one. That's, I
Yeah.
think, what I went through, and probably my deepest learning in the last 4 years was like, oh, because your ego gets involved in healing.
Hmm.
Your ego really wants to drive the ship, and that was
Hmm.
that was me for so long. I'm like, oh, well, I'm this healer, and this is my identity, and that was part
Hmm.
of, like, I can't go into business coaching or business
Hmm.
mentorship. Like, I'm a healer,
Yeah. Even though you were being called
even though the
forward in a
divine's
different
like,
way.
nah, you're gonna go in this direction, right?
Yeah.
And that's that. uh, when we go into the depths of the body and we really start to anchor into ourselves, we understand that there is something far bigger that's holding us, that's guiding us, that
Mhm.
is trying so desperately to come through us. And I mean, I experienced that divine nature in your sessions. And
Mm.
like, if and you can feel it when you go to somebody who has read a book and they're giving you the
Hmm.
template versus somebody who's really fucking embodied in their work, who
Yeah.
is walking that path. So I think we're at a really cool time right now where, whether you call it Christ consciousness coming
Hmm.
through each and every one of us, whether you want to
Hmm.
call it just like this major ascension trip where there's massive amounts of light codes pouring in from these solar flares. We are ascending at such a fast speed that
Such a
there's so
fast
much
pace.
density getting kicked
Yeah.
out of
Yeah.
our energy field, where
Yeah.
it's like the divine's like, no, 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 I'm with you. I'm here to carry you too.
And it's the same thing like with Bufo, like it's the exact like same metaphor. I mean, it's
Yeah.
what's happening is so just as Bufo pushes all that stuff out of your body and it's like
Yep.
this scream, that's what's happening on the planet.
Yeah.
So everybody
It's
thinks that like we're devolving,
We're getting worse. And I'm like, no, it's like, I want you to think of like how trauma goes into the body. Trauma in, trauma out.
Yeah.
You have to experience the collective shadow and all the
Mm-hmm.
density on the planet. I'm like, let it come up, like let
Yeah.
it rise and let it be seen and cleansed and purified. There's
Yeah,
so
and the
much
best
happening
thing
on the
we can do,
planet.
I think, as like all of this is, happening, it's like, yes, help where you can if you feel like there's some sort of physical thing you can do, you know, giving money or
Hmm.
donating
You
food or whatever. But I mean, I've had so many people laugh at me, but like honestly, the I think the best thing you can do is hold and witness and hold a loving space for
oh,
what's coming up and pray and
yeah.
and some of this stuff is just like you can't like what's happening in the Middle East, it's like you can't even wrap your head around how horrifying it is, you know? But it's like, well, what can I do from here? What can I do in my community? What can I do just like when I see people in my freaking apartment complex? It's like
Hmm.
I can hold that space, you
Yeah.
know? And
Space,
go
go
ahead.
ahead. Oh, I was going to say space holding is one of those things that is so underrated.
Mm-hmm.
So underrated. And it
So
doesn't
true.
require a crazy amount of skill set. Like holding space and just letting someone be where they need to be, whether that's like somebody throwing a frickin' anger temper tantrum or crying or whatever it is, let them be in it
Yeah. I think
and
it's
let
actually the hardest thing to do.
super hard to, well, especially if it's family,
Yeah. Yeah.
especially if it's family or
True.
people that you know. I think I think that they should teach that in schools. Like, how do you hold space?
Yeah.
How do you hold space for somebody's like big emotions or just moving through something or just without interjecting and informing or,
Or offering a solution or,
yeah, that
you
it's
know,
like finding this. Nobody wants to hear a solution when they're in their
mm-mm.
shit, right? Yeah, that going back to like, what can we do? Tend to your inner world.
Yep.
Like I heard this quote the other day. I forget from who. I was listening to a podcast while I was cleaning, and it's like, how do you expect to have peace on earth and end wars out here when you are at
Mm-hmm.
war with
With
yourself?
yourself.
When you are
Exactly.
when you have no peace within yourself, how can you fix that outside of yourself?
Yeah, you can't.
Hmm.
It starts with each of us first. And that's the greatest work that you can do.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, that's the greatest
Hmm.
work that you can do.
Because it's an energetic rippling because it lands it goes so far when you are
Yeah.
working on yourself.
Yeah. As above, so below, as in, as out, you
Hmm.
know?
Amen.
Amen.
Yeah.
I can't believe we're
Hmm.
almost up to an hour.
Oh my goodness, we are.
That was so good. Can you give the listeners a little bit of like a taste of what you're offering now? Maybe talk
Sure.
about.
Yeah. So it's mixing business and energetics. So where do I want to start? If you want to start, I have a free download that you could join. It's called The Sacred Business Blueprint, and it's just a really beautiful journey. You were talking earlier about, communing with your higher self and
Mm,
seeing her, and it's a really beautiful transmission where you get to go on a journey. It's a mini course, and you meet your higher, wiser business self, and you get to
mm,
receive all these beautiful energetic codes and frequencies, and then there's little practices to come out of that to integrate and how you can start taking little actionable steps in your business. So I would start there. Um, I have a really exciting program coming up called the Devotion Code. I just ran the beta
mm.
program with about 6 of my long-standing, lovely clients, and it's going to be launching mid-May. And it is the real journey of learning to trust with the divine. It's
Cool.
been probably my deepest work in the last 5 years. And it is really learning to open to the trust of the divine. How does the divine speak through you? It's basically, how do I really anchor into my intuition?
Mm-hmm.
And when we can lead from that inner compass, it's like, okay, now I'm in partnership with this, like co-creating with something that's bigger than me. And it's a really beautiful process. So that's going to be coming out in May. And then I offer, one-on-one work and some mentorship that is about igniting your magnetism so that you can
It's profound
stand
work.
in the truth and the real expression of who you are.
Yeah,
So,
it's been life-changing working with you. I've done
thank
many
you.
business courses, and this has been by far the most profound work that I've had the opportunity to do with you. So I highly
Thanks,
recommend working
Jenee.
with Natalie.
And when we get your offers up and running, watch out. You got to get in with watch out, world. Jenee is coming. You're so talented and so
thank you.
Multi-passionate, multifaceted,
too passionate about too many things.
but that's the thing. You are so expansive and so vast. We got to bring that out into the world because we can't dilute any parts of you, right? You're so powerful in what you do, and the world needs that.
You have that gift. I've been so grateful that just to be witnessed, and that gift that you have of being like, nope, and we're bringing this in too. And this is a foundational piece,
Yeah.
Instead of like, I gotta compartmentalize that part of myself.
I'm like, no. We're bringing all of you into your business. You're too powerful to dilute and pick and choose. You're just like, boom, all of you.
Oh, I have to have you back on. This was so fun.
Sure, anytime.
I feel like
so
we
excited.
like just scratched the surface.
I know. We've had some pretty deep conversations that go in many, many different directions. I feel like I could talk to you forever.
I know.
But thank you so much for having me on. I love you so much. And it's just such an honor to walk through the fire with you.
Thank you so much. And I'll put the blueprint up in my description. I'll have that there so people can download it and they can find information about your programs and your one-to-one.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
You too.
The Heartlight Sessions podcast is executive produced and hosted by me, Jenee Halstead. It's edited, mixed, and mastered by me too. And that theme song you hear, it's called Heartlight. And yep, you guessed it, it's from my record Disposable Love. Got questions about a certain healing modality? Or about heart-centered healing? Or maybe you just need some advice on life, love, or creativity? Send it my way. Email me at letters@heartlightpodcast.com. Until next time, I'm Jenee Halstead, and thanks for listening to Heartlight Sessions. Turning on my heart light, 1,000 volts of sunshine.